Miami Dolphins might be forced to play Sunday's season finale against the New England Patriots without Devon Achane, the star tailback, and a number of other key starters on this team. We will discuss that on this episode of Dolphins in Depth. I am your host, Omar Kelly, Miami Herald columnist. Joining me is Isaiah Smalls, the loser of this University of Miami versus Ohio State game. As we have, as you know, if you watch this, I got to turn it up. This is my favorite. My favorite. Got to be grapefruit too, by the way. Favorite seltzer water. Isaiah is a man. The Smalls pay their debts.
The Smalls pays their debts, of course, man.
Isaiah, I've taught you all about the trenches and how important they are. How did it feel for Ohio State to get their butts whooped in the trenches to the University of Miami?
I mean, I've said this a few times, but I just didn't like the fact that more often than not, the left tackle was facing my quarterback, like staring him dead in his eyes, like, oh crap, like what's going on? But to me, that's just credit to, Messidor and Ruben Bain over there, and Jason Taylor coaching them up well. So look, man, it is what it is. That's what happens when you play one good quarter of football. I'm not even going to blame the 25-day layoff because I think that's a little bit overblown. We saw what Indiana did to Alabama last night. So to me, it's all about execution. And, between Brian Day taking over play calling duties for Brian Hartline as he prepares to transition to USF, between them not fully, I don't think you can fully prepare for Ruben Bain and Messidor, but you can at least try.
I didn't see
it doesn't look
much help.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like at some point, you have to go one-on-one and just try to win your matchup. And anytime that happened, and any of my tackles were left out on an island, it was easy work for them boys. So congratulations. You got a good test against Ole Miss coming up, and then hopefully a trip back to Miami, which could be, for all intents and purposes, a home game for y'all in the national championship. So salute. Good luck to y'all boys. I got to get rid of all my Miami gear.
I love the irony of Ohio State preventing the Hurricanes from winning back-to-back championships. And 20-something years later, like 22, 23 years later, University of Miami preventing Ohio State from winning back-to-back championships. But we didn't need a controversial call of pass interference to do it. We just kicked our tails. On that note, we have some injuries that are going to complicate things for the Miami Dolphins. Devon Achane is a no-go, did not practice all week because of a shoulder injury. Technically, if you're Devon Achane, why do you need to play when you've basically had a dynamic season already? You're already a Pro Bowler, 5.7 yards per carry. I'm not saying that you shouldn't play, but because definitely the team would need you and benefit from having you on the field, especially since you're the primary weapon of this team. But would I chance a shoulder injury if I was Devon Achane and I've got a $50 million, $30 million contract, basically negotiation staring me in the face, and I just have to basically make it through the offseason healthy to get my major ducats? That's certainly something people got to understand. This is a business, folks. This is a business. But we've also got a number of other injuries, Isaiah. Minka Fitzpatrick is not going to play. This is not really a surprise to anybody. It is a surprise to me that the Dolphins have not put him on IR and claimed somebody. Now, the Dolphins did two massive claims. I call them massive because you rarely get an opportunity to poach another team's talent and get them under contract for a number of years. Dolphins claimed Raiders quarterback Cam Miller 2 days ago. He's a tiny little guy, but he's a Tua-esque passer. And ironically, he said he looked up to Tua during his career and compared himself to Tua because of his quick decisions and accuracy. And then they got a tailback. What was his name, Isaiah?
Donovan Edwards out of the University of Michigan, former college football 25 cover athlete. alongside Travis Hunter and Quinn Ewers.
Well, he went undrafted, so obviously he wasn't that good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's actually bigger than I thought he was. When I saw him on television, he looked rather small. But he was bigger than I thought. Like when I went up to talk to him for a little bit, just he's hoping to in the interim contribute on some special team stuff. But he looked bigger than I thought he was. I mean, he was about my height. I thought he was smaller, like just in general.
You're right. No, I
Yeah,
don't
he's
think
about
so.
my height. Maybe it was the shoes. Maybe he was wearing maybe it was the Air Maxes he had on. But like he looked about my height.
So it'll be interesting to see if they claim another player. This is a great opportunity to steal and poach people off people's practice squads.
Of course.
You should do it when it's dirty, but it's legal. So Dolphins need to stock the cupboard with talent. We've got Devon Achane, shoulder injury doubtful. We've got Quentin Bell, who has an illness. He was not at practice today. He is questionable. Aaron Brewer is questionable because of the neck injury that kept him sidelined last week, but he is expected to play. Jordan Brooks, hamstring injury. Jordan Brooks has said, I'm going to play. We got Austin Jackson with a back and a growing issue. He's limited today. Had basically full practices earlier this week, but he's listed as questionable. This is the interesting one. Chop Robinson, who had a concussion coming out of the Tampa Bay game. Mike McDaniel in 4 years has never played a player who has been in the concussion protocol. Chop Robinson looks like he's on pace to become the first player. He was working out. He went a day in a red jersey. He went a day practice without limitations. Generally, that's what you have to do to clear the concussion protocol. He should be able to clear it on Saturday. Bradley Chubb definitely needs him, if you know what I'm saying.
Got that money on the line, man.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb got $5.2 million on the line. I saw Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson celebrating because I'm assuming maybe Chop got that clearance. Brad, everybody knows what's at stake for Bradley and this defense. They know they have to hold their opponent to 3 fewer points than the Atlanta Falcons for that major payday. It shall be interesting to see. And then we've got another key injury, which is Jalen Waddle, who was limited all week with his ribs injury. It'll be interesting to see if he plays. And Darren Waller, with a groin injury, was placed on IR, which was a mad surprise for all of us. That ends Darren Waller's season and maybe the tenure with the Miami Dolphins. How would you evaluate Darren Waller's tenure with the Miami Dolphins, and do you possibly see it a worthy thing to bring him back?
A flash in the pan is how I would, describe his tenure. I mean, look, he had like 4, 5 touchdowns, right?
6 for the season.
6 on the season. That might lead the team in passing.
Tied for the team lead. Pass reception.
Exactly. With who's he tied with? Waddle?
He is tied with Waddle, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, look, there were some great moments, but they were too far and few in between, man. Like I was excited for him to, try to come back and recapture some of that greatness that he had while he was in the Raiders uniform. Unfortunately, that's just what happens when you're at his age, and you just kind of, as you mentioned with these bigger receivers and pass catchers, like just once you hit a point, like your body just starts to break down on you. So unfortunately, it sucked to be able to see, but on the flip side of that, I mean, I think they might have found somebody in Greg Dulcich, especially if they intend to go with Quinn Ewers in the future. Obviously, they have a bit of a connection. That anticipatory throw that Ewers made against the Bucks has been, flashed everywhere, seen everywhere. It was a great throw, threw him open. And the two have talked about, the two being McDaniel and Ewers have talked all week about that relationship that they have. Apparently they got close as when they're both on the, essentially scout team, right? So he loves throwing to Greg Dulcich. Ewers does, and I'm interested to see how that connection develops.
So you buying the
on Sunday.
Dulcich and Theo Weiss to Quinn Ewers?
I'm more so Dulcich to more so Dulcich and Ewers connection. I think, of course, the Weiss touchdown looked great, but like, did he catch another ball out that day? He did not, and that was for a reason, because either whether the route concepts he was running, who knows? But to me,
he's an uncrisp route runner, and he needs a lot of refining. But you see that there's talent there, but it needs to be polished up.
Yeah. So Dulcich is a guy who's been in the league. He had a pretty solid rookie campaign before kind of falling victim to some injuries. But like I said, it seems like he's potentially found a home in Miami, and I'm looking forward because he's relatively young.
Unrestricted free agent.
Yes. And I believe he's like 25. I threw away my roster. I don't have it handy, but he's relatively young.
The last roster, big dog.
It's right. I know. It's somewhere in my bag. So, but he's relatively young. So it is what it is, man.
I'm curious to see, because we keep basically kind of making Mike McDaniel play with one hand tied behind his back, coach with one hand tied behind his back, and from a talent standpoint. And I understand it's December and guys get hurt and injured.
January, big dog. It's 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at that last week in January as just throw it into the back end of December. It's 1 week. Like, the NFL really needs to start earlier, because us carrying this into 2026. Come on, man.
That's fair. I can respect it. I can respect that. I just, it's spoken like a man that did not go out on New Year's Eve, though. Talk about some like, oh, it's still dead December. No, it is not.
No. I always look at this last. Come on, the game is always like the 5th or the 6th or the 3rd. Come on, you just squeaking into into 2026. The playoffs should start in 2026, but that's besides the point. I'm sure the NFL is about to add an 18th game and carry this thing all the way to March.
I hope not. The 18th game would be crazy.
They are definitely adding the 18 game, big dog. That you're talking about probably $1 billion more worth of inventory. Inventory is the key. Put something else on television, they gonna do it. What day was it where we have bowl games and playoff games? I mean, and NFL games. It was like last Sunday.
That might be that's fire.
No. I think we had like bowl game. Oh yeah, no. That they NFL put on games on like Friday and Saturday last week. Yeah, Saturday.
Was a game on Friday? There was a game on Friday. Yeah. That's right.
And then hell, Snoop Dogg did a concert too on Christmas. I didn't see that thing.
I didn't see that. Yeah, because it was like with like some K-pop people too, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to see Snoop Dogg and K-pop. I'm not like, different strokes. I'm not. That's not my forte.
K-pop taking over the world. My daughter's obsessed with K-pop.
I know. I actually, funny enough, a couple years ago, because I got connections just in the music world. Someone had hit me up, was like, "Yo, like, I know it's not your thing, but I have extra tickets to this K-pop event if you want to go." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" You know what surprised me the most? The amount of middle-aged men there without like a daughter or a younger girlfriend. It was like, yo, bro, I ain't gonna lie, y'all are kind of strange.
Nah, they had to take their daughter and just couldn't like.
No, there was quite a few people, no daughter in sight, man. Look, it was strange. It was so strange. I was like, "This your joy? This your whole thing?" I mean, like, look, different strokes, but it was strange. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Maybe it's tied to the Japanese cartoons. I forget what they're called.
Anime.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Hey, let's get to some of this matchup with the New England Patriots. I felt like the Patriots were within Miami's league earlier in the season.
I agree.
Now it's kind of a different story because the Patriots have hit their groove. They're playing hot. They've got some injuries as well. Harold Landry is out. Linebacker Robert Spillane is out. Some defensive lineman, Tonga, is out with a foot injury, and guard Jared Wilson is out because he's in the concussion protocol. I don't even know half these names because I know Barrymore. I know Will Campbell, but yeah, Will Campbell.
But that's actually big. I was about to say that's big. You can't gloss over that. Will Campbell, their first round pick in 2025, is suiting up. I think he spent however many weeks on IR with a knee injury, correct? Yeah, with a knee injury. So that will be a big boost to that offensive line, which is make things a little bit more difficult for Chop and whatever Bradley Chubb's trying to achieve, man. So
and Derek McClendon, because we gonna get some action.
Look, I hope so. I really hope so. I really, really hope so. Look, I don't think I've ever seen someone get elevated just to like sit on the bench. Like that to me was downright disrespectful almost, man. I would have crashed out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. If I was 25,
he ain't in position to crash out, man.
That's true. That's very true.
But I will say this to Derek: it's only 2 players signed under contract next season, and that's Chubb and Chop. And Chubb is potentially gonna be $20.2 million in cap space if he's released the June 1st release. Maybe the organization fixes up some numbers and restructures some contracts and gives Chubb one of them ridiculous incentive-laden contracts again.
That'd be dope.
And he's back. But hell, if they cut Chubb and Derek McClendon sign, you might be a starter, big dog. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm telling you, I don't put my name on people very often. My name is on Derek McClendon. He gonna ball. I'm telling you, he gonna ball.
Okay.
Listen, I know it. We shall see. He will be active. Hopefully, he gets an opportunity to shine. Rush the pass. I can't testify for him as an edge setter. Cannot.
Yeah.
But when it comes third down, getting after that quarterback, ooh,
he nice for sure.
He got that. He got that dog in him. He got that dog.
For sure.
Do you feel like the physicality that the New England Patriots present in this game is going to give Miami Dolphins offensive line some issues? The first time they played, the Dolphins hadn't gelled yet. That was the first game the offensive line was playing without their entire starting right side. It was a little bit rough, even though Devon Achane did have a productive day. Do you feel like it's a little bit of an opportunity for some get back this week?
Definitely. I think that has to be the motivation kind of going forward, especially with no Harold Landry, who, if I remember correctly, had a pretty solid game against the Dolphins. I think he might have had a sack or something of that nature. But look, that's what I talked to Kenneth Grant about today, just in general, just this idea that, like, do you believe that you guys are in a much better position, I guess, to take on this Patriots team than you were in week 2? And he said 100%. Like, even though obviously he's on the defensive line, right? Like, they hadn't gelled either, right? And so when you think about, what is this, 16 weeks later, you've been around your guys for essentially 4 more months, right? About 3, really, 3 and some change. I think it presents a unique opportunity to really kind of put your foot down and set the tone going forward. Because look, if the Patriots have shown anything this year, it's that they're going to be here, right? And they're going to be a problem to deal with for the foreseeable future. But you can take solace in the fact of not getting swept by them, right? They, like, the Jets, were swept by them. The Bills, I believe they split, right? The Bills obviously are the big dogs in the AFCs too. Obviously there's a lot in flux. You need to hire a GM, but from a player perspective, especially if you're a young guy like Kenneth Grant, like Dante Trevor, like some of the other rookies or the people under contract, it's an opportunity to show, like, look, like, regardless of what the record says, we're not going to just give you a game. We're not going to lay down. Like, and to me, I think the biggest thing is going to be with Devon Achane likely not stepping up. Can we get a vintage Jalen Wright performance, right? Like I heard today when Travis Wingfield with the Dolphins brought up the fact that he's kind of bald in the games that Devon Achane has exited early. Yeah, yes, he had the 100-yard game, and then last year he had like 80 something. So he's had success when Achane hasn't been in there. So to me, it's a unique opportunity where it's like, look, man, I know you didn't have the initial start to the season that you wanted, but if you can end the season on a high note and show like, look, I'm going to be competitive for playing time in 2026, why not take that opportunity, right? To me, it's about showing what you can do. One, you want to finish the season on a high note because it can bleed over to next year. You can take a little bit of motivation going into next year. But on the flip side of that, like that eye in the sky never lies, right? And as much as you can be disappointed in Jalen Wright's case about how the season started and your lack of playing time, then you have a unique opportunity to be the featured back against a playoff team vying for the number one spot. If you can go out there and not just show and do more than just show that you're capable of being a featured back, if you can go out there and lead your team to a victory, I mean, obviously Devon Achane is the top dog coming in 2026, but you can at least challenge for some a change of pace role or something, man.
Opportunity, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like why?
Maybe you get your goal line job back.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like your job was stolen by a rookie, which it was the right decision at the time. But Ali, in our opinion, has been a little bit banged up since he suffered that ankle injury. I don't think he's been the same running back since then. And so, why not try to take that opportunity from? Obviously, Ali's going to get some chances on Sunday, but why not try to steal your role back, or at the very least have a leg up in that role going into 2026?
Now, we talked a little bit about football. We'll give you our predictions later, but one thing we have not discussed is the addition of Troy Aikman.
Yes,
the Dallas Cowboy great, Hall of Fame quarterback, Fox broadcaster for the last 20-something years. Being added,
ESPN. He's ESPN since 2022.
Okay, ESPN since 2022. Being added as a consultant to the Miami Dolphins general manager search.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this intrigues me for a number of reasons. Let's start with, I personally believe, do not have any confirmation, but certainly believe that Troy Aikman putting Mike McDaniel on blast in front of national television audience, basically saying, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you not running a hurry up offense here?" Now, I understand why.
Wait, let's contextualize that. This was, I believe, the Week 15 Monday night game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the fourth quarter, the Dolphins were a little bit lackadaisical, kind of running all the time off the play clock, not necessarily doing any sort of hurry up. And
they were huddling.
Troy Aikman was extremely critical of that decision and basically said this is some of the most puzzling decision-making that I've seen in a very long time. Outwardly criticized Mike McDaniel, like 100% wasn't. I'm trying to pull up the
put him on
right
blast.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. The quote is as follows. I'm flabbergasted by what we've witnessed here in this fourth quarter with the Dolphins, Aikman said, and now they want to call timeouts. It's just about as ridiculous a fourth quarter as I've seen in a long time. This is just a bizarre last few series. They don't go hurry up. Now they're going hurry up and calling timeouts. It's hard to understand exactly what the philosophy or what they're trying to do.
I can tell you what they're trying to do, and I'm just going to be honest with you, and Mike McDaniel is not going to be honest with you. They were trying not to expose the fact that Tua doesn't have an arm to run a hurry-up offense.
Woo!
And then when you have to justify that to your owner to explain why Troy Aikman, who coincidentally was hired as a consultant before the criticism, he said, I'm sure your owner said, okay, if he can't run a hurry-up offense, what the hell is he doing out there? And voila, we got Tua Tagovailoa's benching. I'm not saying that's how it happened, but I'm saying that's how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I do not believe that Mike is going to be fired after the game, no matter what, win or loss. And here's my reasoning why I don't believe this. Mike is way too confident.
Yeah, did you see the way that he laughed at the question when asked about the Troy Aikman thing? That's kind of
No. I will say there were some humming moments when addressing the Troy Aikman situation.
It was, but he
There was
laughed.
there was nervousness,
Okay.
and I hadn't seen it for a while. I hadn't seen that nervousness for a while. And even during that press conference, Mike was smooth, Mike was confident, Mike was funny, Mike was himself. Asked about Troy Aikman a little bit, and we started humming.
I mean, I think there was a little bit of stumbling, but the way that the question was asked, and specifically the part about clearing the air with Troy Aikman, he laughed initially, which to me signals like, oh, you think like has anything to do with me? No, like this ain't got nothing to do with me. That's how I took it. Now, obviously, you have a
I can see how you
reading.
took it. I definitely can see how you took it.
But that's how I.
And he also made it. I'm not going to say the conversations that I've had.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had or not had. It is known, and I've said this from the very beginning. If you pay attention to this podcast, you pay attention to my work. Absolutely nobody knows what Steve Ross is going to do but Steve Ross. And that man changes advisors as much as he probably changes cars.
I was gonna say as much as he changes what?
I swear every cycle of a hiring, there's different advisors that are advising him. And considering how some of these decisions have gone, I can understand why there are different advisors advising you. I will say this about Steve Ross, and I go all the way back to when he became owner. I know him. I'm fond of him. He's just like the average fan. If you got to know him, he just so happens to have billions of dollars. But you sitting at home listening to your Dolphins in-depth podcast, you react to games and Dolphins foolishness in the same fashion that Steve Ross reacts to it. I have been told Steve Ross has been out on tour since the first Buffalo game. Done with him. And did not believe anymore. And and I know that Steve Ross likes Mike McDaniel, but I think he's learned from his mistakes and has learned if you put restrictions on a general manager, you're putting restrictions on your general manager search. So I do not think that he's going to go into the 2026 season telling every GM candidate, what would you do to the organization, but you can't touch Mike, which is generally what he did during the Joe Philbin, during the selection of Dennis Hickey, where 4 other candidates turned him down. Now, does that mean Mike is safe? It doesn't. But does it mean that if Mike pulls off a victory and finishes 8-9, that he's safe? How do you feel about that, Isaiah?
I personally, and obviously I'm not as well sourced as you are yet, but to me, I think Sunday is a must-win game for that exact reason. Of course, there's some obvious restrictions. You're not going to have your Pro Bowl running back. There's other, you're not going to have your elite safety out there.
You're struggling at nickel, and Stephon Diggs will go in that nickel and eat you alive.
Yeah. But to me, I still think that this is a must-win game for one reason. Like, you have to show that your players still believe in you, right? And going up against a team like the New England Patriots, when you barely lost to them the first time, to me, I think you have to kind of keep it as close as it was that time. Now, if you get blown out, to me, that is a bad sign because it shows the gap between you and a team that could be perennial AFC East champion, or at least vying for the top spot with the Bills for the foreseeable
Yeah.
future. And if that gap is that wide and you don't have the draft capital that the Jets have, which, obviously they're intent on truly remaking that organization, I think you have to, if you're Steve Ross, you have to ask yourself some long and tough questions about, am I comfortable with essentially running it back, right? That's and potentially running it back with a worse roster, with an even younger
It
roster.
will be a worse roster. It will be a worse
Exactly.
roster.
Exactly.
Now it is, they are facing a rebuild. If you have not checked out my series that I've done in the Miami Herald, where I break down both the offensive and defensive depth chart moving into 2026 without free agency, just what you have under contract.
Mm-hmm.
The coverage is bare, very, very, very bare in terms of
Exactly.
talent. Yes, a lot of players can be re-signed, but they also can go elsewhere. Hell, what do you think what happens if Anthony Weaver goes elsewhere? Anthony Weaver's basically picking you apart as a head coach. I'm not putting that in the universe or anything, but that's just a reality. This is how the business goes. Let's say Mike McDaniel isn't retained, his coaching staff is going to spread out through amongst the NFL. And what are they going to do? They're going to try to suggest Greg Dulcich. Dulcich. God damn it. Greg, like, if I'm on the Dolphins staff, I'm telling whoever's the GM, yeah, you might want to pick that up right there. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Isaiah, do you have a prediction for the season finale?
Of course.
Hold on.
Okay, a little bit. My bad, my fault. Jumping
and then a prediction for what happens afterwards.
I think it's one or two things. So score 27-17, Patriots.
Okay. Ooh, that's a lot of points. Bradley Chubb ain't getting his money.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I believe Mike McDaniel will be retained.
For the season or
for the season?
For the 2026.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going with a 24-20. I'm going to do it. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. New England. I cannot do it. No Devon Achane.
Yeah, come on now.
What is Malik? Will Washington going to lead the Dolphins to victory? No Devon Achane.
That's out of pocket. You ain't need to do that. You ain't need to put a name on it. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
I apologize, Malik and family.
Because the family be watching this podcast.
I do.
The family definitely. There is a family member that might clip that and be like,
"Oh yeah, send it to him." You're too young to notice, but it used to be when we would walk on the field back when we had Davy practices and we walk onto the practice field. It always happened. It was tradition. You would see players walking off the field carrying their helmets because they had to pass us, and they'd say, you see them say, "Hey, point out who is Omar Kelly," and then you see everybody going like this. That guy right there. And
that's comedy.
That's
comedy. It comes with the job. It comes with the territory.
Man. Listen, it is what it is. This is the NFL. There ain't no. Listen, Jonah, brother, like, you got some work to do this offseason. Like, you got some work to do. Kennedy Grant, your body, you got some work to do this offseason. Like, it's you know what I'm saying? I'm a straight shooter. Chop Robinson, you got some work to do this offseason. Like, your career is not going the way you hoped it would go as a first round pick. And a new GM is gonna come in here and you on the hot seat, brother. I could trade you right now while you got some value for about a 4th round pick. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward with this organization.
Yeah.
You know how I feel predicting what will happen in the future. This Dolphins team, they need a colonic. They need a cleanse. I'm sorry. I like these people are nice. I like
They're
Mike.
all real nice. Yeah.
I like Mike a lot. Mike is not responsible for the last 25 years.
He's not.
He is not responsible for Tua's arm dying on him.
He's not.
But he's not responsible for the fact that you lost basically 40% of your offensive line in the season opener. However, you're not responsible for losing to Tennessee in 2023 and costing yourself an AFC championship game. But somebody has got to cleanse this organization and this franchise of the heebie-jeebies that they have. It's just we got to do better. We really got to do better. And I don't know who fixes it, what fixes it, but it definitely needs to be fixed, because before this 25-year loser streak, this was the winningest franchise in all of sports. And now we are a joke. So that is, we got work to do. On that note, we will be back Sunday after the game, because too much is probably going to happen Monday for us to recap a game. So we gonna sneak it in on Sunday. And then what happens on Monday happens on Monday, and we will figure it out.
Amen to God.
Amen. All right. See you guys on Sunday.
Peace.